General Viktor Shokin. He's going after the Biden family for their alleged business ties with the big gas company, which he was going after as prosecutor. Watch this.
I have no doubt that there were illegal activities engaged in by Burisma. As a matter of fact, the criminal case had been started before me. It continued to expand, and Zlochevsky, who at the time held the post of minister and was the founder and CEO of Burisma, started bringing in people who could provide protection for him. Hunter Biden was among them. And the corruption network expanded as a result. There's no doubt in my mind that Burisma was engaged in illegal activities.
KT McFarland joining me now. KT, of course, this guy's talking his book. We understand that. But this interview came out just after John Solomon's reporting showing that a task force of government officials in the United States, Treasury, State Department, and DOJ officials had advocated going with this guy Shokin with the Obama-Biden presidency, and Vice President Biden overrode that task force to get rid of the guy, perhaps because of the fact he was looking into his son's business.
Yeah, here's the thing. So Burisma was doing bad stuff, and they were being investigated, and they were about to be caught out for corruption. Ukraine is a very corrupt country. So in the investigations, Burisma says, well, what are we going to do to get out of this? I know, let's go hire Hunter Biden. He can pressure his father to get the United States to come back at Ukraine to fire the investigator. And that's exactly what happened. And the thing that's now kind of getting more and more, I think, tenuous for the Biden crime family is at the very beginning, remember at the Hunter Biden laptop where there were all these emails and suggestions that they were taking bribes from Ukraine, from China, from others. Well, at the time, the Biden family and the intelligence officials said, oh, there's nothing to that. That's Russian disinformation. Well, then it was proved that wasn't disinformation. That was true. So then the argument was, well, Joe Biden didn't know anything about what Hunter Biden was doing. And then we found out that wasn't true. Joe Biden was in on the telephone calls. He met with the people. And then it said, well, you know, they took the money, and Joe may have known something about it, but, you know, it didn't change American policy. Right. It didn't change American policy at all. Well, now we have evidence that, in fact, it did. Yeah. And what happened as a result is the corrupt Ukrainians got $1 billion. The investigation into Hunter Biden's company stopped. And what did the Biden family get in exchange for all of that? $2 million.
Well,
so
again,
they were willing to sell American national security down the drain.
It's still a lot of circumstantial evidence, but is mounting. It is mounting, and of course, they're looking into financial records, which may prove to be, in the end, the thing that finally connects those dots. Let me switch to China, if I can, because our Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo is in China right now meeting with officials. Of course, this comes after John Kerry was there. Janet Yellen, of course, with her kowtowing to the Chinese officials, was there. And we had Antony Blinken as well. What are these four officials in the Biden government doing? How are they planning to change U.S.-China policy?
Well, Biden has always been very soft on China. He has a lot of the stuff that President Trump put into effect that were sort of tough on China, tough on Chinese trade, tough on Chinese spying efforts. Biden has sort of undone all of that. And the Chinese, in spite of all of that, their economy is sputtering. They're not recovering from the COVID lockdowns. Their economic growth is slowing down. The Chinese president, Xi Jinping, has emphasized control by the Chinese Communist Party over all aspects of China, especially the economy, at the expense of economic growth. So the deal the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party made with the Chinese people 50 years ago of, you give us all the power and we'll make sure you have prosperity and riches, that's starting to fade. Yeah. Because there's now 20% youth unemployment, for example. The Chinese economy isn't growing like it's supposed to. So this is China's all-out attempt to get back to the Biden administration to say, come on, give us some lucky breaks here, stop any of the other things that are going on, you have to help us grow.
Unbelievable. KT, good to see you, KT. Thank you very much. Don't be a stranger.